Happy new day, happy new afternoon, happy new evening, and happy new night. It is your favorite Gemini author, Angelica Stevenson, the woman behind the two voices and the one purpose. Right? Thank you for joining me today, July 19th of 2026, as I'm sharing with y'all an unveiling of a new book, one of my books that I got in the mail, and to see which one it is. I'm so excited. This time I did not have the pleasure of opening the package myself because my daughter did it, but that's okay. You can still see what's in it. Before I get into it, as a Gemini author, I have two literary voices. The first one is Angelica Stevenson. That is my voice. That writes spiritual fantasy, like the epic poem Judgment Day, as well as self-help or nonfiction, like the memoir Enough is Enough, An Addict's Guide to Self-Empowerment. It also writes erotica, again, Release and Be Free, an enlightening erotic anthology. And then I also co-write with my children as a co-author, who I'll write under a child's hand, like the book My Funny Toes, written by my son Alex Stevenson. Illustrations were done by my niece Shylin Simpson, and at the time they were both homeschooled when this happened, and we got this all set together. So whoop whoop, homeschoolers, whoop. Okay, and and Angelica Stevenson is the soft, therapeutic side of me. Like, I want to tell you something. I said maybe blunt, but I say softer, more gentle, right? That's my first literary voice. My second literary voice is Angelica Quantanegreyer. That's the more in your blunt, say it to your face, say it straight, no chase. Like, can't stand the heat, don't come in this kitchen, because I'm just going to give it to you straight. All right? I deal with love. And with that literary voice and pen name, I use it to write the Karmatic Way series. The first book is called Side Effects. And the Karmatic Way series is a multi-genre book series. So right now, Side Effects is mystery, sisterhood, family drama, psychology, psychological mystery, family-centered, about relationships. The rest of the books in the series is the same thing, along the same lines as well. However, all my books, the main focus is relationships. And I haven't covered that about myself in my writings. I focus on relationships, because relationships are very important. And yeah, to learn more about the two different voices and the background of how they came to be, I invite you to my website, thegeminiauthor.com. Click on the blog tab and go ahead and read the two blog entries, who is Angelica Stevenson and who is Angelica Quantanegreyer, to get to know more about them, how they came about, their purpose, and etc., like the king said and the king and I. All right, but now we're back on this. Okay, so I'm ready. Are you ready? You want it? I want it. And what will we have here? Oh. Finally have print book of Release and Be Free, an enlightening erotic anthology, where erotica and poetry meet. Bam! This is the author copy that I ordered from Ingram Spark. That is a self-publication platform where you can publish your own book as an ebook or a paperback, and they distribute, is that this word? And this is the author copies they give us to make sure we order it, make sure we like everything, that everything looks well, so we can go back and make changes before we make it public. My goal is to have this available for public July 31st, so you're more than enough time to buy your physical copy and join me on September 11th for Smut and Sangria, hosted by Wayward Gifts, and I can sign your book. Sign it for ya, right? And we can talk about it, and I'd love to hear what you think about it, what you got from it. But yeah, so let's dive in, right? So first, the feel of it, spine, right? Smemich, right? And then the back cover, okay? Let's read the back of it, the back cover. Where desire meets healing and truth sets you free. Some stories awaken desire. Others awaken something deeper. Within these pages, you'll encounter women breaking inherited patterns, marriages choosing intimacy again, mothers growing alongside their children, unexpected love, dreamers finding their own path, and souls discovering the quiet courage to live honestly. Blending emotionally stirring erotic stories with deeply personal poetry inspired by imagination and lived experience. Each piece offers another window into love, marriage, motherhood, faith, longing, joy, and the relationships that shape our lives. Erotica with purpose. Desire with depth. Discover what love, desire, honesty, and human connection can uncover when we release what no longer serves us and choose to move forward with greater freedom, courage, and authenticity. Take what resonates, keep what connects, release the rest, be free within yourself. Oh my God, I love reading that. Oh my God. I love reading that. Oh my God, I love reading that. And I'm thankful for the Silver Literary Titan Book Award bestowed upon Release and Be Free in Enlightening Anthology by Literary Titan. They are a wonderful company that does book reviews. They also have other services that authors can use. What's another one? There's book reviews. There's the literary their book awards. There's press releases. Right? You can also pay for an extra review for like another reader besides the editors. It's really cool. So literary-titan.com. Okay, I will put their website in the comments as well because they're awesome. So whether you got a book, you got a poetry book, or whether a manuscript and you haven't yet published, yes, they even review manuscripts, y'all. They reviewed Enough is Enough, An Addict's Guide to Self-Empowerment, my memoir, before I published it, and thankfully they gave 5 stars. She gave 5 stars, and it won their book gold award. Their gold book award. Right? Whoo! I'm so excited. I gotta breathe. Right? Okay. All right. So let's dive in here and see what we got. Release and Be Free and Enlightening Erotic Anthology. All right. Here are the table of contents. And if you happen to hear something that triggers or connects and you want me to read it, put in the comment. I will select 2 that's what I'm looking for. I will accept 2 commenters of 1 poem and 1 full story. Full story? Half story? Let me think about that. I'll think about which one depending on how long it is. So if you hear I'm going to read the titles of the poems and the stories. And if you hear one that you want to read and you want to hear right now, let me know, and I'll read it. I'll do 1 poem and 1 story. Okay? And then I'll share it on my YouTube and Facebook pages as well. All right, so we got the copyright, the letter to the reader, poem, The Art of Roses, story, Mow Me Down, poem, Patience Patient, the story, Comatose, poem, Connection versus Love, Naughty Mommy, poem, Anger is Peace and Joy, story, A Night in Our World, poem, War Divine, story, Murderer's Intimacy, poem, Your Time Will Come, story, God's Gift, poem, A Soul Kiss, story, The Secret Sweet and Spicy Sauce. Poem, Make Your Own Lines, Story, Sin No More. And then, of course, we have about Angelica Stevenson and more from the Gemini author. And once again, this page. So, what I am going to read is a poem that I wrote in 2020. It's called Patience, Patience. When I was going through Ingram Spark, getting this set up for print publication, I was editing it. It hit me. I was like, oh my goodness. It hit me in another way that didn't hit me before when I first wrote that poem. And that's one of the reasons why I love my writings for myself and the teachings and the wisdom that the Creator gives me, is because I'm able to always go back to it to help me. Because next time I see it, I may not get the same message. I may not think the same way or feel the same way, but I'm always growing and learning and loving myself more and growing more. And it all goes back to my vow that I made when I was 14 years of age after uncovering my gift of poetry. Like, I vowed I would use my writings to help myself and others, no matter what I go through, good or bad. And that's what I've been doing ever since, from the streets of Lincoln, Nebraska, since I was 14 to now. So it's beautiful that that just really hit home for me, that I'm still fulfilling my vow, not just for everybody else, but still for me too. And I gotta make sure I remember that. So yeah. So I wrote a blog entry called so what came to me was my journey of knowing that there's a connection between patience, tolerance, avoidance, but they're all so different. And going back through how I did that throughout my life and when I needed to do it, but I didn't do them. So I wrote a blog called What I Thought Was Patience. That goes a little bit more into it and what the Creator gave me between the three. So that's also on my website, thegemiauthor.com. I would definitely recommend you go check that out and read it and see what you get from it and see if it connects with you in any way. For now, I will read the poem. It's on page 62 in Release and Be Free, an Enlightening Erotic Anthology. Man. So if you don't know, whenever I write my stories or my poems, I weave myself into them. What specifically? That's for you to figure it out. Sometimes I tell you bluntly what's from me, like my personal experience. Other times from lived experience, observation, This poem's called Patience, Patience. Ready? Okay, here we go. I knew I was patient and figured I would be when and if I had my children. Oh boy, was I tested. When I had my own children, people look at me now. Oh, no, that's the wrong flow. Rewind. I knew I was patient and figured I would be when and if I had my children. Oh boy, was I tested when I had my own children. People look at me now, they say I'm so patient, and ask me how I do it. One day at a time, with God's help, are all the nice, simple, pretty answers. However, the truth is, I became patient. I still am actually. Because what you see is the results, the aftermath, the fruits of my labor. While behind doors, I'm crying, screaming, hurting, confused, overwhelmed, healing, changing, growing, listening, watching, observing, as I'm getting schooled while allowing my children to unschool, to follow who they are by learning who they are. Because I've got issues and a childhood past that I can barely remember. And what I do remember, I didn't want to hang on to. I didn't want to be like this. But unfortunately, as I kept that in the forefront of my mind, that's what I became, like my mom. May she continue to be blessed. Who was the best mom at the time with who she was, what she knew, her own issues and healing. And I know the same applies for me. I just want my children to be better than me. And at times I fear I've made them worse than me. It just can't be seen now. And there I go again, thinking negatively. projecting, manifesting, until patience tells me to calm down and reminds me to focus on the now. The good that I want to be, do, and see. The good for me, on them, for them. So I ask God to guard my mouth and to hold me tight so I don't strike out from being and doing the new me, the me I want to be, the me that interests me. Because every time I look at the faces of my children and observe their behavior, I see me. The me that I was, the me I used to be, the me I want to be, the good in me, the bold and confident me that each day I pray to be, even now at 33. But only after I realized I needed help, by admitting and submitting myself as I fell on my knees to patience, asking her, no, begging her, to take me as a patient so that I can get better, so that I can heal, so that I can be the mother that I want to be, so I can be the mother that my children need me to be, as a family and individually. Who knew? I didn't. That when I decided to unschool officially, I also decided to be tested, to be burned, to be purged, to be cleansed, to agree to let my children be the ones who teach me, not just about themselves, but also about me. Patience, patient. Yep, yes, that's me. And because of it, I am also the mother I wanted to be. I let my children feel, think, and express, even if it may go against me. I let them be free. I let them teach me about me because I needed to learn again how to be me after losing myself over and over again. When I had my mini me's and became a mother, which made me a teacher with no college degree, and though I may still cry, still scream, still become so overwhelmed to give them all their needs, to give them me, I needed to learn that I need me. I need myself to be who I want to be, my goals and my own dreams, instead of putting them all to the side because they need to see that doesn't have to be like my mother said she did for me. How do I do it all? Woman, wife, mother, teacher? By being a patient of patience. Patience, patience. Yep, that's me. Patience, patience. So my family and I can be healed, so we can be free. That's why I am the healed mother. Because I know I need healing while being healed along the way. On this journey to be the best mother I want to be. Patience, patience. Patience, patient. Yeah, that's me. Copyright 2020, Angelica, Stevenson, all rights reserved. Yay! Hey, thank you, babe girl. So, yeah. And that's actually one of my perfect parenting secrets too in here is learning to be the student, becoming the student of my children. And that I do share at the Perfect Parenting series once a month in collaboration with Miss Teré Lea of the Holy Rejuvenation Wellness House. She does sound bath or sound healing while I share my secrets and while I share my perfect parenting secrets from my parenting program, Accessing the Perfect Parent Within Me. We're not on that one. The next lesson is actually called Let Them Speak, which I just said in here. I let them think, feel, and express, even if it goes against me. So I'll be sharing how I learned to let my children speak and how to not take it personally, which was another perfect parenting secret that we talked about before that I shared and we practiced on. And yeah, so to hear more about that, how I learned to accept and keep my patience and keep my peace when my children use their freedom of speech, I invite you to our next session on August 28th from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Holy Rejuvenation Wellness House. More information on that can also be found on my website, thegemiauthor.com. You can register on Eventbrite. It is limited because it is I like to keep it intimate and an intimate setting and space as well. So yeah, I'll also put that in the comments too. And I was going to read a story, but my daughter came down. And they've been asking, Mom, can I read your book? Mom, can I read your book? I was like, yes, when you're 21. Because it's a grown-up book. It's an adult book. Ain't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to go read a story.
Oh, I'm not going to read a story. I gotta, well, I did say I say I was going to read? I think I said I was going to read part of one. Yeah, okay. I'll read part of the story because I did say I would. It's a small one. Which one will it be? Hey, shut my door. Go upstairs. Thank you. Shut it all the way. There. Thank you. All right. I'll give you a taste, a tidbit of a story. I'm just going to open the book and whatever it falls on, that's what I'm going to read. Bam! So this is page 68 and is part of the story called Comatose, not comma, not coma, but comatose. Okay. So it's about to get rated R up in here a little bit. Might. Actually, no. I don't think I'm going to get there. I don't know. If it does, I might give you that taste. I don't know. I'll stop. Okay, well, here we go. All right, y'all ready? Okay, I gotta make sure what time it is because I have to be somewhere at 7:30. It's 7:02. Okay, here we go. I had just gotten out of a long relationship and was still slowly working through the pain. Room 202 needs an IV, a deep masculine voice said, interrupting my thoughts. I glanced up and noticed Lance, an RN at the hospital, standing there. He's the finest specimen on this floor. Tall, chocolate, killer smile, golden eyes, and a butt that looks nice and tight in his scrubs. Every woman wanted him. How did I know? Because he was always the talk of lunch and the cause of the giggles on the floor. Thanks, I replied. Leona, right? Yeah, that's me. I answered while stammering, and I didn't know why. I had a badge name tag just like him. How long you here till? He asked. 5 a.m. Me too, said Lance. I hoped he would say more, but his pager began to beep. Gotta go, he said before walking away. Bye. I said more to myself than him. Trisha passed Lance as she walked back up to the desk. Hey, Lance, she said sweetly. Well, hello, Trisha, he responded. I watched how Lance peered back at Trisha as she walked back up to the desk. Did he look? Trish asked. Yeah, she laughed. Maybe there's hope for him after all. I smiled and shook my head. Girl, you crazy. And that's why you love me. Bye, Trish. Bye, Lee, said Trisha as she walked to the elevator. I was 5 hours into my second shift and growing tired. Working doubles was finally taking its toll on me. After the shift, I knew I would take a break and get some R&R. I looked behind me and there were only 2 other nurses there, and they were off in their own world tapping on their phones. I didn't know why I kept working that shift. I did all the work without complaining. I told Trish about it one day, and she said she would tell their lazy asses to get off their butts and do something. Like she does anything herself, I thought and smiled. Can one of you come with me to room 202? It's time for him to be turned. The 2 women ignored me. Hello, I said, getting irritated. I was not in the mood. Sarah, one of the women, rolled her eyes as she put her phone down. She opened her mouth, and I wished she would say something smart to me so I can make her eyes roll back permanently. However, she closed her mouth and smiled really big. I knew there could only be one reason for that smile. Hello, ladies. Could one of you come help me in room 202? Lance asked. I can, volunteered Sarah with a chirpy tone. I rolled my eyes in disgust. Now Sarah wants to help when Lance asks. I can't believe these women. At least it was off my hands now, I said to myself. How about you, Leona? I heard him ask. I turned around, surprised. Excuse me? Will you help me? Lance asked again. Now I know he asked, will you help me? But I swear I heard, will you marry me? Looking at his handsome face and sexy smile, and from how my yoni responded, I would have said yes to anything he asked. I must have been drooling or something because I heard Sarah and the other nurse laughing in the background. Snap out of it, I told myself. Yeah, sure, I finally answered. Great, Lance said. Ladies, he said to the others before stepping back so I could walk with him. I glanced back at the two women who had disappointment spread across their faces. This needs to be filled out and put in Dr. Fisher's box, I said as I placed the clipboard I was working on in front of them before turning away. Lance and I started our walk together in silence for a moment. Do you expect them to fill that out? Lance asked. Expect them to? Yes. Will they? Probably not, I answered. You do a lot of work here. Is that a statement or a question? I asked him. An observation. I merely nodded my head as we walked into room 202 together. Can you check his vitals while I turn him? Lance asked. Sure, I responded. I walked over to the patient to check his blood pressure and watched as Lance turned him over to his right side. I noticed his strong arms and bulging biceps and wondered what it would feel like for him to flip me over and over. Lance's thoughts. I could tell she was watching me. I wanted her to, which is why I left my sweater in the locker. Being around her always made me feel hot and not just with sweat. I didn't mind that the women thought I was gay while fantasizing about me at the same time. My eyes were always on Leona. However, she never seemed to notice. She had this silent beauty about her. Leona was a hard worker who didn't flirt or make googly eyes at me like the other women in the hospital. That turned me on even more. Back to Leona. I finished checking the patient's vitals and Lance covered him with blankets. Can you check his legs for me? He asked. Sure. I went to the foot of the bed and bent over to ensure the patient's legs were elevated and covered tightly. I didn't notice that Lance had moved from the side of the bed to walk up behind me until I stood up and my back bumped against his hard chest. Oh, pardon me. No, pardon me. He whispered in my ear and started grinding his hard dick against my ass. I couldn't help but close my eyes and softly moan. What are you doing, Lance? What does it feel like I'm doing, Leona? The way he said my name, it was so deep, so masculine, and so damn sexy, it made my pussy tingle. I had to get my thoughts together, but it was hard to do with Lance nibbling on my ears and his mouth slowly creeping down to my neck. His breath was so warm against my skin that it gave me goosebumps. We are at work, I said in a raspy tone, trying to maintain my composure and professionalism. He mumbled as one of his hands moved up to my breast and squeezed it. Would you like me to stop? He asked. Would I? I asked myself. No, I wouldn't. But I knew he should. Lance took my right hand and guided it between my butt and his penis. God, it was big. It had been a long time since I had any dick, and yet I've never had a dick that big. I started to stroke it up and down to gauge his size, and it just got bigger and harder. I was right. He was big. I heard Lance moan behind me, and that enticed me to squeeze it, making him growl. God, woman, you just don't know what you do to me. I couldn't believe he said that. To me. I had no idea Lance saw me sexually appealing. If Trish was here, she would tell me to stop thinking and just feel. Let go, take action, and enjoy. So I did. Why don't you show me? Lance turned me around, grinning from ear to ear. With pleasure, he remarked before crushing my mouth with his. I hungrily pulled Lance into me, my mouth working feverishly against him. He tasted like candy I'd been craving, and I needed more of him. My hands went up underneath his shirt and pulled it off. His abs were rock hard and just as perfect as the women fantasized. I wanted to see more of him. I stepped back and smiled and then fell to my knees, pulling his pants down with me. My eyes got bigger as his meat was revealed inch by inch. His dick was standing straight out at attention. I looked up at him as I opened my mouth and shoved what had to be at least 10 inches inside my mouth. I wasn't sure if I could take him all, but I was sure as hell that I was going to try. And we'll stop right there on page 72. What you gonna do? Okay, so that was just a taste of what you can expect from Release and Be Free, an enlightening erotic anthology. And I hope you get a little taste to see that it's more than erotica, right? There's going to be a lot more in there than just sex. Sex is the doorway, okay? To learn more about what inspired me to write this book and put it together, I invite you to read the interview, my author interview with Literary Titans as well. I will put that in the link too, so you can check it out. Let me know what you think. See the story, the meaning, the message, the purpose for this book, right? Because one woman, two voices, one purpose. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. All right. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for your support. Remember, go ahead and stay tuned to know when this book is available. Make sure you subscribe to my Taste and See e-letter at thegemiauthor.com, and you'll know first when it's all available, and also get a special discount because I do. That's so fun. I do release discounts, book release discounts on my books as well. And get your copy. So you'll be ready to get your copy and have it before Smut and Sangria on September 11th. I hope to see you there. Tickets are going fast. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. The host, there'll be an Eventbrite. The link will be in the comments as well. And as always, take what you need, keep what connects, and chuck the rest. You know, that's my saying. But for Release and Be Free, take what resonates, keep what connects, release the rest, and be free within yourself. Peace in the blood, y'all. Whose blood? Yours and mine, of course. Until next time. Peace.